2 Corinthians 12 and verse 19.
Bring it out.
Again, think you that we excuse ourselves unto you?
Read on.
We speak before God in Christ, but we do all things, dearly beloved, for your edifying.
So we do this for your edifying. We do this for the edifying of the body of Hamashiach Yahushua. So y'all are Israelites. Y'all God-chosen people. Y'all got to come back to y'all nationality in these last days. Repent and keep the commandments of the Most High. Right? So you got some questions, brother?
Yeah, a lot of questions.
Hey, ask. Give me 1 Peter 3:15. Bring that out. Ask all the questions you want, brother. That's why we out here. Bring it out. We're going to bring this out first. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15.
It's the book of 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 15. And it reads, it's the book of 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 15.
Bring it out.
And it reads, but sanctify the Lord Yahweh in your hearts.
Read on.
And be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you.
Right, so we got to be ready to give the answers to you, brother. So whatever questions that you have, you can ask us. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, one of my friends got killed. Like, when happened? Like last week.
Right.
And knowing it's truth or whatever.
Right.
Could you still go to that funeral? Because I'm hearing that when you become an Israelite, you can't dwell in the world no more because, you know, you got all these...
Genesis chapter 50 and verse 10.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
Right, yes? Right, you can bury your loved ones. We're going to bring it out. Genesis chapter 50 and verse 10.
It's the book of Genesis chapter 50 and verse 10.
Bring it out.
It reads, and they came to the threshing floor of Etad, which is beyond Jordan.
Read on.
And there they mourned with a great and
some
very
rock,
sore lamentation. And he made a mourning for his father 7 days.
Read on.
And when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning in the floor of Atad, they said, this is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians.
Give me, skip right to the point where it say buried his father. I believe that's verse 24. All right. Yeah, 26.
Verse 26. So Joseph died being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt.
Right, so the point is you can bury the dead. You can bury your loved ones according to the Bible. Now bring this out, brother.
Book of Sirach, chapter 22, verse 11. Weep for the dead, for he hath lost a life, and weep for the poor, for he wants his understanding. Make little weeping for the dead, for he is at rest. But the life of a fool is worse than death. 7 days do men mourn for him that is dead, but for a fool and an ungodly man are the days of his life.
So the scriptures tell you you're supposed to make lamentation for your loved ones. So if they get put to death, if they die, it's according to the law, you do have to bury them.
Okay, but that's only for your loved ones.
Right.
Like friends.
Not friends and all that, because it said buried the dead, buried the dead. That's right.
Yeah.
It was,
Some of Matthews, I believe.
No, this one right here. You were asking about can he go to the funeral and how the spirit died. And then the guy that went to follow him, he said this thing.
We're not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. Give me that. 2 Corinthians 6 and 14. Right, that's not the same situation. Right? That's more so talking about not hanging with the wicked. Right? That's not going into making a lamentation for your loved ones or friends.
Okay.
Feel like that.
Right.
another world, and he had to run to the girl back, and they sniped him from a tree or whatever, from a roof or something.
Right. So that was judgment from the Most High.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
bring it out.
Yeah.
Well, in your spirit, do you think you need to go to the funeral? Is the spirit let you know that you should go to the funeral?
No, when I found out that I can't go to, I just didn't go.
Okay.
Because I was like, go.
Well, I mean, you didn't go off, right? You wasn't in the midst of sin.
No.
Right.
No.
Okay.
Nah, like I said, I was when he told me, I was like, wow. It's kind of like put me back into my mom's basketball last year.
Right.
And she didn't know it was true. She didn't know nothing about it. And I was like, dang, God, you know what I'm saying? And it was kind of hard. It's still kind of hard.
Yeah, you can bury your loved ones according to the law.
You can't.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You're supposed to. Right. Because if you're not going to bury him, who else is? Yeah. Give me Sirach 38-23. You got a point, brother?
Oh, you got it.
Come.
I was gonna start at 16.
Come.
You got it.
Sirach 38.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 38,
Start at verse 18.
and verse 18.
God.
It reads, "For of heaviness cometh death, and the heaviness of the heart breaketh strength.
Read on.
And affliction also sorrow remaineth, and the life of the poor is the curse of the heart."
Salakia, now heaviness represents sorrow, right? Lamentation. Read on.
So you said start with that verse, what?
18.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm gonna start go off on 20. "Take no heaviness to heart, drive it away, and remember the last end.
Read on.
Forget it not, for there is no turning again. Thou shalt not do him good, but hurt thyself.
Keep reading.
Remember my judgment, for thine also shall be so."
Right, because death is the judgment of the Most High. The scriptures tell you in 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 6, how the Lord does the killing. Read on.
"Yesterday for me, and today for thee.
Read on.
When the dead is at rest, let his remembrance rest, and be comforted for him. When his spirit is departed from him,
Read on.
the wisdom of a learned man."
That's pretty much it on that. So this is how you deal with death according to the law. Right? You can go to Sirach, the 38th chapter. Right? It's also another one in Sirach chapter 30 and verse 21. Bring that out.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 30, verse 21. And it reads, "Give not over thy mind to heaviness,
Read on.
and afflict not thyself in thy own counsel.
Read on.
The gladness of the heart is the life of man, and the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days. Love thy own soul, and comfort thy heart.
Read on.
Remove sorrow far from thee, for sorrow hath killed many."
Right? Depression, that's sorrow. The scriptures say sorrow have killed many. A lot of people, they commit suicide, right? Because they're dealing with death. The Lord said you got to put that far from you. Okay, read on.
Remove sorrow far from thee, for sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein.
There's no profit. It's unprofitable. You understand? Got some more questions, brother?
I was reading and I was reading, and I understand what it says, yeah.
God so loved the world.
Right. But when I was hearing the brothers, saying, hey, I was hearing them read it, and it was like Israel, and I was trying to, I couldn't, you know what I'm saying, what it is, right. And when they said, and it was like, these men of Israel, I can't see it. It was like, I kept reading, trying to find what it was saying.
Give me
So
Acts
it's
chapter
like
2, verse 21.
precepts or anything like that with that? Okay.
I got you, brother.
Yeah.
Acts chapter 2, verse 21. Give me Joel chapter 2, verse 32. Bring that out.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 2, and verse 21.
God.
And it reads, "And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of," read it as is.
Yeah, as is.
Okay. "And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord
Say whosoever. So Christians read this and they think it's talking about everybody. Read on.
shall be saved, ye men of Israel."
God. I got
See
it.
that? Look at Acts chapter 2, verse 21. Right? So Paul was speaking unto the Israelites. He also was quoting the prophet Joel. Bring it out. Joel chapter 2, verse 32.
Joel chapter 2, verse 32. "And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be
Say
deliverance."
for in Mount Zion and Jerusalem. That's symbolic for the Israelites.
Right.
Read on.
"As the Lord hath said, and the remnant of whom the Lord shall call."
Give me Obadiah, the 17th verse. So that's talking about the Israelites. So only the Israelites can make it. Right? The brother Kabas broke it down so beautifully.
Right.
Bring it out.
Obadiah, 17th verse.
Yeah, Obadiah 17.
This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 17. "But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions."
So we just went to 3 precepts linking up, proving how the Israelites are the only ones that's going to get saved.
Right.
Right? That's how the Bible is understood. Give me that Isaiah chapter 28, verse 9. All right?
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 28, and verse 9.
Right? So the scriptures say precept upon precept. We're about to bring it out.
That's right. And it reads, "Whom shall be teached knowledge?" So like, whom shall he teach knowledge,
Right.
and whom shall he make to understand
And
doctrine?
this is a question. Whom shall the Lord teach knowledge? Whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Read on.
Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast.
Meaning you got to come in a baby-like stage. Give me that in Hebrews chapter 5, verse 12. When you first come into this truth, you gotta desire the sincere milk of the word. Meaning the basic elementary things of the scriptures, such as who is salvation for, right? How to keep the Sabbath day, right? Putting on your fringes, learning the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High.
Right.
Those are the basic elementary things of the scriptures. The milk, the baby steps, okay? Read on.
Verse 10. For precept must be upon precept.
Precept must be upon precept. Different scriptures link up. Read on.
Precept upon precept. Line upon line. Line upon line. Here a little and there a little.
I mean, you can't read the Bible like a novel. You can't read it from Genesis to Revelation straight through. You got to go to these different precepts and they link up. That's how you get the understanding.
Right. Because you know what? Because when I was first time, I was like, what the?
Sirach 21:11.
They tell when I started listening to Hebrew, I was like, I get it.
That's right.
Right.
Give me Hebrews 5:12. You got that?
Hebrews 5 and 12. For when, for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again.
That's another thing. You got to get taught by other men that the Lord set up. Read on.
Which be the first principles of the oracles of God,
The first principles to be taught by a teacher. Read on.
and are become such as have need of milk, and not of the strong meat.
That strong meat represents deep knowledge of the Most High, such as Daniel breakdowns. Right? You're going to learn that more so when you grow in this thing. Read on.
For every one that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe.
What?
He is a babe. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those whom by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil.
Now give me 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 2. So as you grow in this thing, you're going to learn more deep things of the Most High. But right now, you want to start with the milk, the basic elementary things of the scriptures. And that's what you're doing, brother, so that's good. That's right, that's your foundation. You always got to have a foundation. Bring it out. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 2. All right. And give me Colossians chapter 2, verse 6. Come. Bring it out, brother.
It's the book of Colossians chapter 2 and verse 6.
Bring it out.
As ye have therefore received Christ, Jesus the Lord, so walk ye in him.
Read on.
Rooted and built up in him.
So the scriptures say you got to be rooted in this thing. Man, you can't get tossed to and fro from
Right.
every wind of doctrine. Right? Read on.
Rooted and built up in him, established in the faith.
What?
Established in the
You
faith.
got to establish yourself in the faith by seeking the milk of the word. Right? Seeking the foundation, which is these laws, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
As ye have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving.
That's right. Now give me Sirach chapter 21, verse 11. You found that?
First Peter chapter 2, verse 1. Wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisy,
Right, so the scriptures speak about how you got to be a new creature in your house. You
Right.
got to put off that old man, that old woman. Read on.
and envies and all evil speakings, as newborn babes, as newborn babes,
You born again, right? The scriptures speak about being born again. That's not entering into your mother's womb for the second time. That's being renewed in the knowledge of the spirit, in the knowledge of your mind, coming back to these laws, doctrines, and commandments. Read on.
desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby.
Pretty much it. So desire the sincere milk of the word. What's your other question, brother?
Well, okay. A lot of people out here, okay, like I've been trying to tell my own way. You know, can't celebrate technology, birthdays. And they say don't celebrate religious feasts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if people they don't say it, like, where we have that and all that stuff. And I continue to tell people this and it's like, I don't, like I say, I keep telling them don't celebrate the birthday, don't do this and that.
Give me 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 3. Give me the book of Matthew chapter 15 and verse 14. Bring that out.
It's the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 3.
Right.
And it reads, but if our gospel be hid,
Right, because right now you preaching to them the gospel. not celebrating your birthday, not celebrating these wicked feast days. Read on.
But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost.
So ultimately they lost, and the Most High don't want them to come into the knowledge of His word. Read on.
In whom the God of this world
The God of this world is talking about the spiritual demon Satan. Read on.
have blinded the minds of them which believe not.
Have did what?
Have blinded the minds of them which believe not.
Meaning they spiritually blind. They're not going to understand the word of the Most High.
Right.
So it doesn't matter how much time you try to break it down to them, precept upon precept, they just not going to get it because the Lord doesn't want them.
Right.
Bring it out, brother.
Matthew 15-14. Let them alone.
What the Lord say?
Let them alone.
This is out of Christ's mouth. He said, let them alone. Meaning leave them the hell alone. Read on.
They be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch.
Both of them are going to fall into the ditch. The ones they get misled by and them. So the Lord said, let them alone. Bring it out, brother.
Salakia, brother, to answer your question. This is the book of Romans, chapter 11, and verse 7. What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
That's right. So the rest of the people, the rest of the Israelites, they're going to be blinded. They're not going to understand the knowledge in these last days.
Okay, one more thing. This is what I understand. I love it. Okay. I got a homeboy.
Right?
Sister, come here to work,
Great
sister.
grandfather was German.
Okay.
Israelite.
And his grandfather, that was his grandfather's
Hey, brother, 5 minutes for the word, brother.
I keep telling him, man, you call it
Israelite, brother.
He don't believe it. No, man. I'm black just like you. He's not really getting it.
Read Numbers chapter 1,
He
verse
really not
14.
getting it. I told my dad.
If his grandfather's a German,
Yeah, German. And his daddy. Okay. His grandfather's German.
right on his father's side.
His daddy. His daddy was his great grandfather was German.
Right.
His daddy's that he just passed away. His grandfather is black, just like him. And his daddy is German, but ain't the same thing? It's gonna go down.
But it,
everybody's Caucasian.
yeah, but it has to be on his father's side. So if his father's father
Right.
is from Germany, then he's an Edomite.
Okay, what I'm saying is that his great grandfather
Right. But
is
on
Caucasian.
what side?
On his father's side.
Okay, on his father's side. Okay.
And so everybody from there, and his uncle is dark as me. And that's his father, so I'm just saying, they all eat.
Yeah. Salakia. Hold up.
Yeah.
He's an Edomite. If his father is German,
No, okay. Let me say this right.
his great grandfather is
His
German.
great-grandfather
Yeah, so that's still his father. He's an Edomite.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You are what your father is. Bring it up. Numbers 118.
No, what I'm saying is,
No, I get what you're saying, bro. I get what you're saying. Numbers 118. Let's bring out the
Check this out.
scripture.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 1, and verse 18. And it reads, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their
Right,
fathers.
so that's how you declare your genealogy, by your father. So if his great grandfather is an Edomite, then he's an Edomite.
Right?
Right, he would be a tear according to the Bible. He's a tear, a chocolate-covered Edomite. That's what we call him. Right, so he got to deal with it. Give me the book of Acts chapter 13, verse 10.
yeah, because his great grandfather. He said, well, I got
You gotta deal with that. All right, this,
And I said, okay, what is your great grandfather? He said, he's white, Caucasian. I said, you're white too. So what you talking about?
Bring it out. Bring it out.
this is the book of Acts, chapter 13.
Listen to this, brother. Bring it out.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 13, and verse 10. And it reads, and said, O fool of all subtlety and all mischief, thou child of the devil.
Now what?
Thou child of the devil.
So a child of the devil, right? Meaning his father is a so-called white man. So he's not of the stock of Israel, because this thing is determined by the genealogy of your father. So he got to deal with it. Right? You got a point? Bring it up.
And also, you can also tell too by their spirit, because their spirit is off. Yeah. Romans 8. Yeah, okay, you got it. Because you know also a person's an Israelite by bearing witness to their spirit. Because some of us don't look like us, like the so-called Hispanics or so. They look, but they're Israelites because their spirit bears witness to the truth. It goes back to the lineage of their forefathers.
Right? Bring that up. Romans 8:16. You got it? Bring it up.
Romans 8:16. The spirit itself bear witness with our spirit.
And the spirit is going to let you know, right? What is his doings, right? Do we act like a so-called white man?
Oh,
You see that, brother? So that's the spirit letting you know he's an Edomite. Read on.
hey, look, before I got to the
Keep reading this, brother. Hold on.
on.
That we are the children of God, and the children, the heirs of God, and joint heirs with Christ.
That's right.
And so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together.
That's pretty much it on that. Go ahead and make your point, brother.
Yeah, like you were saying, you know a person, and I was like, nah, man, there's something wrong with you. You gotta be Esau. You gotta be doing something wrong, man. Because when he always talking, oh, I gotta get money. I said, man, I don't know about you, man. Until I found out about this truck, I said, man, Esau. That's my shit right there. He don't like it. He said, oh, man, don't be tough. You know, they go home, man. Take care of he trying to make, and I keep telling him, I said, you gotta stop doing that. We doing some AIDS about all these black girls.
Somebody bring that up, the wheat and the tares. Give me that scripture, whoever knows it. Right, the wheat and the tares. Pull that up.
13th chapter.
Yeah.
Matthew 13.
Matthew 13.
Yeah, I just gotta find it.
Because that goes into the wheat and the tares. We're going to get that scripture for you. Right.
24.
Matthew 13, 24. Bring it out.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 13, and verse 24.
Bring it out.
And it reads, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which soweth good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat.
Right, the enemy is talking about the so-called white man. And what the so-called white man would do, he would rape our woman, and the offspring of these children would look like so-called black people, but they would be Edomites. For example, Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass is an Edomite. Read on.
And went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? And he said unto them, an enemy have done this.
What?
An enemy have done this.
An enemy have done this. Also, Tia and Tamara, the twins, they are Edomites. Their father is a so-called white man, but their mother is black.
Tiffany Haddish.
Tiffany Haddish, I heard she was an Edomite.
Because her,
I gotta see her
I
father.
read some things over.
Bob Marley is an Edomite, all right? But he looked like a Jake. He got the dreads going on, but his spirit, he always want to talk about getting high and right? That's an Edomite. That hippie spirit, right? That love everybody spirit. Ethiopian, Jewish, better Israel family. It say Ethiopian and Jewish. That sounds like confusion, right? Because Ethiopians are Cushites. If you're so-called Jewish, they are Amalek. They're Edomites. So it say Ethiopian Jewish. So that's confusion right there.
Ethiopians think they think they
Eritrean. All right? But again, she could be a Hamite, right? Ethiopians are Cushites. Hamite. Give me that Zephaniah 2:12. They're not Israelites. No. Right? To be an Israelite, you got to be of the stock of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
That's right.
All right? The Ethiopians, they come out of Cush. They are Hamites. Bring it out.
This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, and verse 12. And it reads, ye Ethiopians also, ye shall be slain by my sword.
That's what the Lord said about the Ethiopians. They're going to be slain by the sword of the Most High. They're going to get put to death. See that? Now give me Genesis chapter 10 and verse 1. Bring that out. Genesis 10 and 1.
Look at Genesis chapter 10, verse 1.
Right to the point about Ham. Verse 3.
Genesis 10 and 3. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz,
Verse 6, Salakia. Genesis chapter 10, verse 6.
Genesis 10 and 6. And the sons of Ham, Cush.
Who?
Cush.
Cush, the Ethiopians, the Cushites. Read on.
And Mizraim. And Put. And Canaan. And the sons of Cush, Sebed. And Havilah. And Havilah. And Septa. And Rahamah. And Septecta.
So that's pretty much it on that. We're going to read about Noah having 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Right, the Israelites, we come out of Shem.
That's right.
Right, but the Hamites, the Africans, they come out of Ham.
That's right.
Right, such as Cush, the Ethiopians. Right, that's why we both dark-skinned, but we not the same people. You understand? We got the source.
We got completely different spirits.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary.
Gotta get that. Right, you can get off Amazon.com.
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble.
And this is the definition of Ham, because Noah had 3 sons, like the brother said, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. This is the definition of Ham. The youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes.
What it say?
Not the Negroes.
So even these scholars knew that we didn't come out of Ham. They say he became the progenitor, meaning the creator of the dark races, but what?
But not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites.
So those are Africans. See, we're not Africans, man.
Yeah, you're right. But listen, but like I said, man, I was in CBS, man, and I seen the African woman. I said, how you doing? She was like,
Yeah, because these Africans hate us. Give me Exodus chapter 11, verse 7.
They know that we're not the same. They know, because when you have some Africans come over here, yeah, brother, you have some Africans that came over here and they know, oh, my people sold your people to the Edomites.
That's right. Give me
They
that Joel the 3rd
Oh yeah,
chapter.
Joel 3 and 4. Yeah.
right.
And that's actually in the Bible.
I got you something else too.
Okay, let me bring this out real quick.
Go ahead. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 4.
Bring it out!
And it reads, sorry. This is the book of Joel 3 and 4. And it reads, yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
Tyre and Zidon is Hamitic nations, the Africans.
That's right.
Read on.
And all the coast of
All
Palestine,
the coast of Palestine represents the Arabs. Read on.
will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head.
Read on.
Because ye have taken my silver and my gold and have carried it into your temples, my goodly pleasant things.
Now the silver and the gold represents the Israelites, because we royalty unto the Heavenly Father. And they actually took the silver and gold out the temples.
Yep.
Read on.
The children also of
They say
Judah
the children of Judah, read on.
and the children of
Meaning
Jerusalem
the Israelites, all the 12 tribes, read on.
have ye sold into the
Have ye
Grecians.
sold unto the
Shalom,
Grecians? The
Akim,
Grecians,
Kwam Yashala.
the Grecians are the so-called white men. So it say the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have they sold unto the Grecians. Right, so these Hamites, these Africans, and these Arabs, they consulted with each other and they sold us to the so-called white man via the transatlantic slave trade.
And so like to continue on with that, this is Amos 1 and 9. Thus saith the Lord,
And this is the same prophecy that Amos had. Bring it out.
thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof.
Read on.
Because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom.
To who?
To Edom.
To who?
And to Edom.
To the so-called white man. Right? So Joel and Amos had the same vision from the Lord, that the Africans sold us to the so-called white man.
Yep.
Give me Exodus chapter 11, verse 7.
Exodus 11 and 7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue. Against man or beast, that ye may know how the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
Yeah, so that's plain and simple. The Lord put a difference between the Egyptians and the Israelites. He put a difference between the Africans and the Hebrews. All right?
Man, one thing, man.
Go ahead, brother.
Hey, I don't know why, man.
That's a good thing, bro.
I do. I just want
Give me Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 8.
I just get on, like I said, when I get around them, I just you know, just
That's right. Bring it out, brother.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 8. And it reads, a time to love and a time to hate.
So the Lord said it's a time to hate, right? Because we at war with our enemies, brother. King David said he hated those that hated the Lord with perfect hatred. When you check out these Africans, they hate the Most High, brother. Give me Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12, verse 3. We're going to read some things that these Africans was doing in the land of Canaan. Bring it out, brother.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12 and verse 3. For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers, both those old inhabitants of thy holy
And
land.
the old inhabitants of the Holy Land were the Canaanites, right? Because remember, the Israelites, we conquered the land of Canaan, and then it was surnamed Israel. Read on.
Whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of
The
witchcraft.
word odious means vile and disgusting. So the Lord said he hated these Hamites for doing most odious works of witchcraft. Read on.
And wicked sacrifices.
Doing what?
And wicked
They
sacrifices.
also was doing wicked sacrifices. Read on.
And also those merciless murderers of children.
Right, they was doing child sacrifices as well. Read on.
And devourers of man's flesh.
And devourers of man's flesh, meaning they was cannibals. Right? You got the a Liberian, I forget his name, but he'll kill you and eat your heart. Right? What's his name? No, it was a Liberian ruler. He would kill you and eat your heart.